Yes, there was some police activity on Scott Road, and we are here with Director Hackney. He's going to tell us exactly what happened. Can you fill us in here?
Good morning. Around 3:45 this morning, a citizen called the sheriff's office, and the call was dispatched to patrol officers about a couple suspicious vehicles in an abandoned lot next to some residential houses. Officer gets dispatched and goes out and finds two cars that are kind of stuck in the mud in a lot. It's been a lot of rain, so it's mucky over there. The cars are actually stuck, front tires down in the mud. Doesn't see anybody around, so he kind of goes to the next street over to Scott Street, gets behind the house and kind of watches, thinking that maybe whoever's in these cars will come back. They're obviously trying to dig these cars out of the mud, so a few minutes go by as he's watching. Vehicle pulls up, three young black males get out of the car and go back to try to unsticking these cars. He gets on the radio, calls for backup. At that point in time, he is noticed by the suspects from where he is, from the area behind the house that he's in. That officer is seen by those suspects. One of the suspects pulls out a gun, fires a shot towards the officer. Luckily, the officer was not struck. Can't find any structural damage or anything that was hit by that shot. After they fired that shot, they got into the vehicle that they came in, left, leaving the two vehicles still stuck in the mud. They came out onto Edgewood, made a turn, and ran into a telephone pole. This was even before the officer could get back in his car and out. They fled on foot. We set up a pretty good perimeter trying to catch these suspects. We've not been able to catch them. Just getting information in that of the two cars that are stuck over there, at least one of them has been stolen out of Clay County. The vehicle that crashed into the phone pole is also reported stolen. Three suspects are outstanding, not a very good description of them. Really highlights for us that what you would think would be just a normal routine call for these officers, a couple abandoned cars, 3 o'clock in the morning, turns into somebody firing at the officers. It highlights the danger that the men and women of the sheriff's office face daily on every call that they go to.
How did the officer know to call for backup just from a couple abandoned vehicles?
Well, when the officer saw the suspects come back to the scene, that's when he called for backup. He was just watching the cars to see if by chance the suspects or those people that had been there came back. It's taken the extra step, doing a little bit more than just writing a report and having the cars come back. Obviously, we want to investigate what it is. That's part of the investigation, is to see if the suspects may have came back. In that case, they certainly did.
Did he approach the suspects? What would make them fire a gun at him?
It's hard to know. I mean, here's an officer just doing his job, investigating the call. It's hard to know what was in their minds. Whatever was in their minds was enough to take the gun that they had and fire at the officer. There was a gun recovered from the vehicle that crashed into the phone pole. We'll make some steps to see if that was a gun that may have been used. But again, it just highlights the danger that these officers face.
Did the officer get out of the car? Get out of the car and that's when they noticed people?
The officer was actually on foot watching these other two cars. He was out of his police car on foot, and it was when whatever caused them to notice him, they turned, looked at him, fired the shot at him.
So there was no action. He didn't say anything to them.
No.
They just noticed.
Happened to notice the officer over there and fired at him.
So he did not discharge his firearm?
The officer did not discharge his firearm. The suspects got back into that car after firing that shot at him and fled the scene.
Why is CSX police on the scene?
One of the vehicles we're looking into, we believe it is an unreported vehicle owned by a CSX employee. They're coming out to help us to try to make that determination where that could have been. There's some gear from CSX that's inside the car. Makes us think it's stolen from a CSX employee or member.
You said there were two vehicles that were stuck there. Did they flee in one and then the other one is still at the scene, or how did that work?
Two cars are still at the scene. They're stuck in the mud, and I believe that's probably why they came back to try to unstick those cars from the mud. It was the vehicle that pulled up. They got out of that car, tried to work on it. Then they got back into that same car and fled in that same car, which is the same car that crashed into the phone.
And then they fled on foot?
They fled on foot from there.
Any reason to believe that after the car hit the pole that any of the people might be injured?
Doesn't seem to be any signs of injury in the car. There's no blood in the car or anything of that nature. They fled on foot. We had K9 come out, try to find them, couldn't do a track, and so they're in the wind somewhere.
And that's why the scene is so big.
Yes,
there were
correct.
3 cars, 3 vehicles. 2 were stolen.
At this point in time, 2 were stolen. I believe that the third one is stolen as well. That's why the CSX police are out here.
So the van that crashed is stolen, and one of the cars in the mud is stolen.
Correct.
The other one may be stolen.
Maybe stolen, and we're looking into that. So.
Any reason to believe that neighbors here are in danger?
I wouldn't tend to believe so. I mean, the neighbors, thankfully, they saw something suspicious in the middle of the night. They called the sheriff's office. We came out. It just highlights the good relationship that the sheriff's office has with the neighbors in this community. We ask them to call, and they do. And this is a good example of just that.
Who's the office?
It's Officer Heiss, Officer Matt Heiss.
M-A-T-T.
Heiss, H-I-C-E.
H-I-C-E.
And Matt Heiss is a 5-year veteran with the sheriff's office. No administrative leave. The officer did not discharge his firearm, so he will remain on full duty.
How's he doing this morning?
He's a little shook up. It's a hard job. It's even harder with some of the violence that you face on a daily basis. This is pretty significant violence when some of the suspects that you're trying to apprehend fire at you. Nobody wants that to happen. Thankfully, he's able to go home and spend Christmas with his family alive.
How close was the bullet? Do you know? I mean, do you have any idea?
There's no way to know. He did see the muzzle flash aimed at him, so he knows that they were shooting directly at him. It's by the grace of God that he doesn't have an extra hole in his body. Right, thank you all very much.
How old were the suspects about, you know?
Teenagers is the way he described it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Teenagers all.